Member of Parliament for the Swame constituency in the Ashanti region, and one of the individuals who raised a lot of issues when this whole issue came up in respect of the termination of appointment of these public sector workers in the beginning of the John Mahama administration. Mr. Darko, good evening. Thank you very much for your time. I'm sure this must put the matter to a final rest.
Thank you. Very good evening to your listeners. Well, to another extent, one can say that you've been vindicated, but that is not all. They say about 541 people, at least for those people, the appointment should still remain revoked because it does not meet a certain threshold. We will need to see those particular appointments and why, in the view of the government, those appointments don't meet the threshold they set for themselves. But look, right from the beginning, we said that the chief of staff did not have the authority to do what he did by ordering the revocation of all those appointments they claim were made, after the 7th December election. The point is that when it comes to appointment or recruitment processes in our public services, they are not a day affair or a business. It is a process that sometimes can run up to a year. Sometimes the minimum will be 6 months. And so if somebody starts interview or recruitment processes, it takes a year before the appointment is made, and the appointment is made after 7th of December of an election year, and we say that by reason of that late appointment, the appointment should be revoked. Obviously, you will be wrong. But I'm happy that the committee the government itself set up came out and they agree with us to a large extent that the majority of the appointments were right, they were in line with legal processes. And so that is good. I would say it's further in the top of the government for not covering up their own investigation. So in that regard, I commend the government. But I will want to see that the particular 541, we need to know what actually happened. Because, you see, we know that government is a continuum, and that the term of a government does not end after an election. In fact, it ends on the day the handing over is done. And so from 7th December up to 7th January in an election year, an outgoing president will still have the power to make some appointments. And, our brothers in the NDC defended it sometimes in December 2016 when they appointed Dr. Gov't and other people. So as a people, we really need to come to this realization that election is not an end itself. It's a process that we are using to govern our nation. And so an election that happens on a particular day should not stop us from functioning as a people. But, I can say that this is a very good thing, and we commend the government. But the 541 they are talking about, we really want to know what exactly happened, because we don't know the basis for coming to the conclusion that the appointment did not meet the threshold.
Well, the government spokesperson in the press conference says they didn't go through the right process, unlike the 1,539, which went through the right process. This 541 did not go through the right process. The reason why they've decided to revoke these appointments.
Yes, I mean, that's the thing. When you say it did not go through the right process and it went through the right process, what exactly do you mean? Because when it comes to public service appointments, we know the process is some of them will have to go to civil service and all of that. Unless you tell me that there is some particular flagrant violation of the law, I wouldn't understand what you mean by they did not go through the right process. Tell us which part of the law those appointments violated. And I'll be first person to concede that, for instance, if somebody's appointment is being go through, let's say, the civil service, if it's supposed to, and it's not go through it and we revoke it, I will be first to admit. But in the beginning, you said that the blanket letter from the chief of staff to revoke all appointment made after 7th December was wrong. And at least by their own assessment, the committee report, you agree with that the chief of staff was wrong at the time, and he's wrong now. For the rest of the 41, if we get to know the basis, then we can interrogate. But I would say is that we need to move beyond just as a country and respect the structure. At the time, they were referring to the presidential transition. There's nothing in the presidential transition that prescribes an outgoing president from acting and behaving as a president, which will include making appointments. You understand? And so those ones that there are clear violations of the law, I will concede. But we know that we are right from the beginning that the majority of them, as the own report has shown, were done correctly and legally.
There are others who have called for a compensation package for these individuals who were affected, even though they've been recalled or their appointment have been, upheld. There are others who say that they should consider a more or less a compensation package for them. You agree to that call?
Without question. I mean, again, now the government says that the people's appointments were legal. We need to find out whether those people are still around. If they were sent home, they need to drop us. And we see, for you, the media, need to help us follow this 1,500 people. Who are these people? We've been told that the appointments have not been restored. It means that they have to come back. We need to know these people. We need to see them. They should tell us which institution. So, for instance, you tell me, at a particular institution, there were these 10 people. They are coming back. We need to see them. And I expect you, the media, to go behind government statements and confirm these things. Because government said that 1,500 people will go there. Who are these people? And again, once we do that, there's no question that these people who were made to sit home will be entitled to their back pay, at least at the minimum, for all the time that they were denying their salaries. They need to be paid, because if they were a court decision, they'll be asked to take this pay plus, as it were, cost or some form of penalty. But I believe that because it's an administrative decision, their salaries can be paid to them for them to return. But for me, the most important thing is for us to go behind these government statements and find out whether indeed these 1,500 people are going back to work. Otherwise, it's just much ado about nothing. Otherwise, just government trying to save face, tell the people of Ghana that we are doing the right thing. When in fact and indeed, these 1,000 people probably will still be home, or they won't be sent back to their workplaces.
Mr. Darko, can there ever be a time where we can end this cycle of last-minute appointments?
Look, I mean, for me, we just have to understand that a government term run for 4 years. Okay? A government term run for 4 years. And so within that 4 years, we should allow the president or the outgoing president to act. Otherwise, let's legislate. So if we are looking for a time when these appointments will be stopped, let's legislate. And because we are trying to even change the time of our election, for instance, if you are going to have an election in November, let's legislate. Then after the election in November, no appointments will be made until all the transition processes are over and the new government comes. And so if the government intends to appoint, let's say, 100 or 1,000 people, let the appointment be part of your handing over note, handing over to the new government, and then the new government, if it deems fit, will appoint those people into office. Let's legislate, because unless we legislate, then you cannot force any person who makes an appointment at the dying moment of his presidency.
Thank you very much for your time. John Darko is the Member of Parliament for the Swame constituency in the Ashanti region. This is Eyewitness News, coming to you live from our studio here in Accra.